Our first stop was Brisbane. Most South Pacific cruises depart from here. We decided to arrive a day earlier to make the most of sightseeing in Brisbane since we had not been here before. Some of the sights that we saw included the Neville Bonner Bridge, Brisbane Wheel, South Bank area, and general sights throughout the city. This is the Wheel of Brisbane. You can catch some amazing views of the city while riding the wheel. Although we found it a little bit expensive at almost $21 per adult. It's fine to do as a first time though. The cabins are air conditioned on the inside, which offered a nice shelter away from the heat on a 35-degree day. I have to say, the South Bank area was our favorite part of the city. We found ourselves returning multiple times. We must have crossed the Neville Bonner Bridge about 20 times at least. At night, the lighting is superb and there are a ton of restaurants off to the side where you can grab something to eat. When in Brisbane, you should definitely check out the Whisk, Nodo Donuts, and another pastry place that I can't pronounce. The selection and taste of these places were so amazing. I'll leave their names down in the description below. During our walk in the city, we found these cool metal kangaroos. It was just a weird and wacky thing to see, but very cool. The following day, it was finally time to get on the ship. We arrived at the Brisbane International Ferry Terminal for boarding. Boarding was a relatively simple process. You hand over your checked-in luggage and then proceed to passport control and security, much like an airport, but way more relaxed. When we got onto the ship, we couldn't believe how amazing it was. It was massive. This was the Royal Promenade, which is where all the shopping is based. Along with gift shops, there are also a few eating places here. Sorrento's Pizza, Harp and Horn Pub, and Cafe Promenade are all here. And then further down towards the back of the ship, you can find Jamie's Italian, which is a specialty restaurant. There was live music throughout the entire cruise at different times. We quite liked this piano solo. We also watched a lot of theatre on the ship. The performances were so good and some of the best that we've ever seen. Ah, the Windjammer. This was the buffet area of the ship. We almost exclusively ate here for breakfast, lunch and dinner. There's no charge to eat here and the selection always changed and was so good. We also found some dal and okra curry that reminded us of Fijian style cuisine. We were so pleased. You definitely won't go hungry on this cruise. On day 3 of the cruise, we arrived at Vanuatu. We woke up to the most amazing view from our balcony. What you see here is the main island of Vanuatu. Mystery Island, which is where our excursion was taking us, is off to the other side, further down on the right. We were lucky to have experienced this beautiful place as a week later, a serious earthquake hit here. Once we arrived on Mystery Island via the tender boats, we were greeted by crystal clear waters, a crisp sea breeze, and a beautiful sandy beach. The tender boats are stationed during the entire day, so you can leave and go back to the ship anytime you want. The last tender boat was around 4 p.m, which gave us a solid 4 to 5 hours here. Once on the island, there are a lot of options for tours and activities which are run by the locals. I would recommend just waiting till you are on the island to book anything. You will get tours and activities for a lot cheaper that way as opposed to booking through Royal Caribbean. You can use Australian dollars on the island, but small notes of $5 and $10 are best, as change is not really available. We based ourselves on the opposite side of the island from where we arrived. Most people ended up swimming here as well, so it did get a bit crowded. But while swimming, I did see some fish come right up close. We had booked a glass bottom boat tour, which also departed from here. It was worthwhile going and cost was about $90 AUD for a 40-minute ride for 2 of us. We ended up seeing some really cool coral and fish, so highly recommend this experience. Mystery Island itself is very small and walking around it can be done in under 2 hours, I would say. In the center of the island there is a market where the locals sell a bunch of stuff. You can also find food to eat here with some stalls selling barbecue and grilled meats, or you can buy small snacks like Oreos, chips and soda from smaller vendors. The following day after Vanuatu, we arrived at Noumea, New Caledonia. The ship docks at this container yard, so you have to get off the ship and onto some free shuttles which will take you into town a short distance away. The whole process was quite straightforward. Once the shuttle drops you off in town, you will find a variety of operators offering tours nearby. I highly recommend the hop on and off bus, as that was relatively cheap and we found it was the best way to get around. When in Noumea, make sure you stop over at Le Moulin Bakery for a sampling of some French pastries. We picked up a few treats for ourselves to eat at Lemon Bay. You can also use Australian dollars here, but make sure it is small change. In general, we found most places in Noumea accepted Australian dollars, but keep your card on you as we found that some shops didn't. After grabbing some pastries, we took a ride on the hop on and off bus. They are double-decker buses, so it was nice to sit on the top and have the breeze come in. It was a very hot day. We stopped over at Lemon Bay first. The bus does a loop with one going every 15 to 20 minutes, so you won't ever have to wait too long for one at all. Lemon Bay is a really nice beach area that you can walk along. And right opposite it, on the other side of the street, are a variety of restaurants. Spoiler alert, there were no lemons at Lemon Bay. Oh, and this vanilla eclair went down a treat. After Lemon Bay, our next stop was the Port Plaisance shopping mall. This is a small shopping mall where you can pick up some nice gifts. We did buy a few things here, but noticed that the mall did not accept Australian dollars, so we had to use our card instead. Beside the mall is a beautiful bay area where we took some nice photos and videos. It's worth checking out just for the view alone. Once we were done visiting Lemon Bay, Port Plaisance shopping mall, and after having some lunch, we headed back to the city centre and just walked around. Noumea is a nice small city and you'll have more than enough time if you spend a few hours here. There are more things to do like the aquarium and cultural tours, but we didn't really get around to doing them. Better save something for next time, I guess. After a full-on day in Noumea, we enjoyed watching the ship sail away and headed back onto the ship for the last few days at sea. We indulged in more desserts and dinners, theatre and activities. Overall, I highly recommend this cruise as we had a great time, and for our first cruise, it blew away all expectations.